So you saw that I have Java 7, Java 8, and I work with the Java 13 and 14 and other machines, the computers, and then depending which type of program. But as I said, we will start from the Java 8 versions, and then this works. So we download the Java 8 update 45s, and then you can just install the Java 8. After the installation done, then you can see your respective directory where you define your path, installation path, and then you see the different version of Java. So basically we install the Java 8 update 45s. You see the structure of the Java. So this is the most important understanding. You need to understand the basic structure, and those who are the new, this most important to get it clearly. So if your installation is properly done, you have a bin directory, and then bin directory containing all the exe files. That means your Java exe, Java C exe file, Java doc exe, and then so on so forth. So all the exe files need to run. JVM, JDK, GHARI, all things is installed here. So all the executable files you see in the bin directory. So this is the most important. You see one of the bin directory, very special, Java Web Services generation, Java JS import exe files. Basically, this is the two really special, and you see the JXC exe files. So all the executable file that you need, or do you additionally need for the for Java or further Java implementation, that's all the bin directory. You got all the exe files is executed from the bin directory, and this is the most important directory when you define your environmental settings and variables into the here. So you got the idea. That means you Java exe, Java C exe files, Java doc exe files, the most important files, and so on and so forth. This all things being bin directory. So that means bin directory is containing you all the executable file that is required to run your GRE and or to run your JVM or your SDK. That's the understanding of the bin directory. And it has some GRE, and then its lib directory is the other things, the your GRE. Here you see the other part of the GRE informations, and then the lib directory. This is another most important directory. So all the dependency, all the jar files, that's the Java very beginning needs, then it's you get all the jar files including here into this lib directory. Most important, the class path directory, and so on and so forth. You see the most important jar file is here, tools.jar. This is all the tools that you need to run the Java, meaning to run your JDK or your GHARI and then JVM. That's all the things is here, all the dependency that you need to run the Java. That's the initial lib directory. And this is the other directory that I said I will talk about more detail when we start the development. So that means we download the Java, we install the Java, and then after the installation is done, then you have got the same structure of your projects like bin, dv, the Eclipse. I will talk about later how can you integrate the Java with Eclipse. That's the things I will talk later. And basically bin, dv, zhari, and lib directory. This is most important directory, bin and lib directory. Bin directory containing all the executable files that you require for running the Java, and then the lib directory containing all the necessary dependency that's required to run the Java. That's the things that you need to get it. After the installation, download, installation done, your project structure PPI is properly, then you need to go to setting the environmental variables. So where you can get the environmental variables, just you simply go to your computers or somewhere control panels, and then you get to the properties. You see normally the properties you coming this one, and then you can say go there, the environmental settings, that I can say the environmental settings here, that bounds and hardware, the environmental settings, and after that you set your variables, your all the you see the many environmentals and user variables settings, and then also the many environmental variables for this one. See, the one of the variables was Gradle variables, Gradle home, Grails home, Groovy home variables, and Java home. This is most important. That's the location we got our JDK installed, our Java is installed. You see the C program files, Java, JDK, and then so on and so forth. After the defining the system variables, you can get it here. So you see the many examples like how can you install the Maven and so on and so forth. And then if you define the Java home variables, and you can go to the Maven, go to the path variables that we define. So that means you need to define here the environmental variables, where which location you install the Java. So it's just simply define the Java home variables and path of variable values where your Java is installed. So simply copy paste the unit installations or browse the directory and install the your path of your Java home. So after the variable name is defined, then you can go to the path variables. Java, the standard Windows path variables, you can just edit it, and then you see how the path variables is defined. So it says many example how can you path. You just define the $sign, the percentage Java home, that's we already defined as a variables, and then after the bin directory, and that's all. So it's defined. So you define the variables, and then the path variables, you define the you Java home variables and / bin directory, and that's all. So that means your Java configuration or installation or in global is done. So that means you don't need to do locally to call in Java or JD or bin directory or lib directory inside your any other programming. So if you the set this environmental variable as I said, that's a systematic way, then Java is accessed globally. That's the most important part you need to be understand. So if you set like this way, that means your Java can or should or must be accessed in globally any part of your application, any part of your systems. Then this is the global settings of Java. Even though you can go with the locally install the locally define your path variables, and you can call it Java. That's the one way. But the standard and professional way, that's I said, you set all the global variables that you need to run the application or run the Java in different application or completely inside your OS systems. That's the global settings of Java. So just recap, we download the JDK, and then install the JDK, and where the JDK is located, you just define the JDK. You're in the Java home variables. After the home variables definition is done clearly, the properly done, and then you just copy, name it like Java underscore home. That's standard way to do. If you have a different Java versions, you can even though they gave it a different name, but the standard way Java home versions for Java definition or global variable definitions. After the home variable done, then you can go to the class path, the operating system class path. You see the how can you define the path variables, and then you see the Java home percentage Java home, that's you define maybe other names, you just put it in the right name, and then / bin directory, and that's all. That's done. The set variables definition done. After you can say click the the settings is done, then you can go to the simply the command lines tool to check it if Java is properly installed or not installed properly. That's not need to be checked. That's you have to be checked first. So we can go to the command modes, the tools, the command mode. Then you can go to the command mode and see the how the Java, and you can compile Java C. If Java is properly installed, you can see all the variables that you need to that you define to the so that means if you in the CMD in the command prompt, if you shell in the Windows, it's a CMD, the command prompt.